welcome to the Education 601 presentation done by the Viterbo Library. Today in this presentation we're going to focus on Goal 1, which is the beginning search strategies you'll develop to find articles. Goals 2 and 3, Iliad and RefWorks, are covered in different areas on this subject guide. So let's say that you are starting a research project for your Chapter 2 and you are doing a literature review where you're asked to find research articles, which are original studies, that are peer-reviewed or refereed, and that are published fairly recently unless you're talking about some sort of a classic study. You're going to locate these primarily from the library's homepage. They will be most likely from an academic journal or occasionally in a book or a government publication. So let's break this down into the three main concepts, the first being primary research. Primary research means that the article you've located is an original study. The researcher or researchers have gathered the data, conducted the study, and reported it in article format and then gotten it published. Compare this to a secondary research article, which is something where the writer has just done an overview on a topic or perhaps offered some good ideas for assignments, interpreted what somebody else has done. You're looking right at this point for primary research articles. The second thing that you'll need to find is that your articles are peer-reviewed, and what this means is that your author or authors have sent the article to the editor, who instead of going directly to publication has sent it on to a review committee who reviews it for accuracy, and then perhaps it gets published. This is a process that is also called refereed. The last thing to think about is that your articles that you locate for Chapter 2 may be related to your topic and may not always be a perfect match of what your topic is. So consider that if, let's say, you were doing research on student writing and journaling and how that could improve middle school writing skills. Broader concepts, narrower concepts, and additional or related concepts are all pretty acceptable as far as what type of articles you can find. So maybe you find a couple articles that are about journaling exactly and whether or not it improves middle school writing. You may find another one about different writing activities in a classroom that could add development to skills, perhaps for 6th graders. You could find yet another one about teaching methods and different ways that teachers are implementing new writing improvement methods into the classroom. So there are different ways that you can play around with having your articles get close but not always match your topic. Here's more information about related research. There's a link to a YouTube video and also the video itself here. So when you start your research, you'll be starting from the library's homepage. Remember, we're always here to help you out and answer your questions. Sometimes you want to ask them through chat, that's fine. You can also email us or call us. We have a subject guide set aside just for your class on the left-hand side of our page. You click on Subject Guide and find Education 601. Some students develop keywords before they begin their researching. By this, they may make a list or a mind map and put their topic in the center, and some of their lead concepts leading off into different areas where you come up with similar words or synonyms. So one of the easy things to come up with synonyms for are your grade ranges. And let's say you have a 3rd grade class and you want to study them. Well, elementary can probably suffice when you're going into there, or primary. Same thing goes for middle school. There are lots of different keywords you can generate for middle school, junior high, adolescent, secondary, and so on. It doesn't always have to be a perfect match for your grades. Writing has lots of synonyms. So when you go into a database and start your research, you would not use all of these, but you'd use a few, and if you're not happy with your results, then you'd use a couple more. Once you get into databases, you'll find these open lines where you can put in your synonyms and keywords. So we suggest you don't use too many at once. Don't confuse it, but just try to get down to some of the key ideas and hit search. Of course, there are different ways you can limit by saying you want peer-reviewed and a certain date range. There's a second way to search, and once you get going, you may come across these. So let's talk briefly about them. Formal language or subject headings are in every single article, and they may help you improve your searching. So let's say you started out with reading tips and found out a couple articles you liked and noticed that each one had a list of terms connected to it. In this case, it was individualized reading instruction. And so you decide to try that next time around. And you may have a much more focused list once you use some formal subject headings. Here's an example. Let's say you're looking at third grade reading and whether or not book clubs influence their skills, and come up with these keywords before you begin your search. You go into a database, use some of those terms, and find a couple articles you like and start noticing these are the terms that are recommended for your research. So you may quickly jump from something like book clubs or something like that to book clubs parentheses discussion groups end parentheses, and all these are things you can click on usually and continue your searching that way. So when you start with your keywords, you're going to have good results, but it's casual language, which is sometimes not the best focused way to continue a search. Sometimes students appreciate a subject or formal search, which is a little more focused. So it's all open for you to use to see which one you like. Once you're actually in the database, almost always on the front page of your database, you have an opportunity to put a check mark in a little box that will help you with peer-reviewed or getting only journals articles that are peer-reviewed. I really do recommend that you do that. If you are using a database called EDUC, you have a couple other ways to help your articles become research articles versus secondary articles, and that is to make sure you click on two things: the journal article link and the publication type, which is called reports-research. So here's some practice for you. When you go into a database, usually you can put in some keywords, limit to peer-reviewed, and click search, and then you generally have a list to work through. Every time you see a list, you can pretty much click on the title to get to the secondary page, which is usually called the citation page. So this one gives a lot of information, and before you even try to read the article itself, you may want to try to train your eye so you can save some time and look at the long titles and some different things on this page to see if it's worth your time to even click on the article to read it. So this one's called Teaching Teachers to Think: Reflective Journaling as a Strategy to Enhance Students' Understanding and Practice of Academic Writing. There's an author name below it, a source, which is where it's published, and the date, volume, issue, page numbers. Subject terms, which are the formal terms assigned to this particular article, and then the abstract. So the abstract could quickly become your best friend, as it helps you with just a few minutes figure out whether or not this is an article that is a primary research study or an overview. So if we take a look at it, we have sort of an introductory sentence followed by a second overview type of sentence. The third sentence starts, "The underlying purpose of the study is to explore the possibility of introducing the reflective journal into teaching of academic writing." So right there, it tells us that it's a study. You can find the word study, methodology, data, participants. Those type of formal language terms are often used in an abstract, and they usually will let you know that this is in fact a study. So this one, if it were your topic, similar to what your topic is, you may want to take a look at it. Here's the second one. Is this a primary article or secondary article? It's called Nature Journaling. There's our authors, our source, and our subject terms. Our abstract says that the authors examine their experiences. The second sentence, the authors suggest that teaching science can be enhanced. And then the third sentence, the article also states that nature journaling addresses these common core standards. So, and as far as I can tell from reading this abstract, it is an overview article about nature journaling, so it's a secondary article, and it is not a primary article. So once you get into doing your research, this should come a little easier to you, but it's a wonderful time saver for you. The other two goals in this PowerPoint are using ILLiad, which is how you will request items that are listed in a database perhaps, but not the full article. So you use ILLiad, which is a free program. You have information on our subject guide called Interlibrary Loan. It's a tab along the top of the page, and that explains how to get set up with your account. And the third goal is using RefWorks, which is a citation management program. It's an optional thing for you to use. It would just simply help save you some time as you wade through lots of research and keep things organized. Remember that you can always contact us when you need help. You can contact us through email, by phone, or from our library webpage through our chat. And if you're having any kind of troubles logging in, please let us know. Thank you.